because homeopathy is so different in its view of health and healing and disease that it really helps if the patient is educated before they go into this process, because it's so different in orientation than conventional allopathic medicine. So what is homeopathy? So the word homeopathy actually defines what it is. So homeo means similar and pathy means suffering in Latin. In fact, all the remedy names are always in Latin too. And so the general principle of homeopathy is that, in fact, in conventional medicine, it sort of catch can, what is used to treat what. Sometimes they don't even know why it works. In homeopathy, there's a single principle of therapeutics, which is that if a substance can cause symptoms in a healthy person, then it can cure those symptoms in a sick person. So the example I always use, because people understand it, is like what does coffee do to us? Why do we like to drink coffee? Because it makes us really alert and a clear mind, but it can also keep us up at night, can also cause diarrhea, right? Move your bowels and stuff like that. So, and so the remedy, there's a remedy made from coffee, and I'll get into that. So it could also treat those kind of symptoms in a person who, like, for example, is suffering from a certain kind of insomnia. Not all insomnias, but a specific kind of insomnia where your mind is full of thoughts and you're excited and elated, that coffee feeling, and maybe you're running to the bathroom, and that's a pattern of insomnia, especially when you can't fall asleep after a party or something like that. So but not all insomnias are like that, right?
Right.
So that's another critical thing, is that there's no take this for that thing in homeopathy. Sometimes there's certain remedies that are commonly used for certain things, but in general, it's not the case. So now the weird thing about homeopathy is there's actually many drugs that allopaths are still used that were used by homeopaths, but they're used in crude form. A very typical example is people using Ritalin for hyperactive kids, because Ritalin is a stimulant. It's, if some non-hyperactive person took Ritalin, it would make them hyperactive, right? And then we give it to hyperactive kids to calm them down. So it is working by the law of similars, but it's given in a toxic form. So the founder of homeopathy, Samuel Hahnemann, who was a doctor, a scientist, a medical translator, he developed homeopathy in the beginning of the 1800s. But he realized that these substances he was experimenting with and used could be toxic. And most of these medicines are toxic in material form. So he started diluting them. And then, of course, after a while, they stopped working. So then he got this idea, since he was also a chemist, what if he tried to make sure they were like really super mixed well? And he developed this process of alternatively diluting and shaking it extremely vigorously. And much to his own surprise, they started working better the more he did this. So although they are beyond Avogadro's number, in which case there's not a single molecule left, although the discovery of Avogadro's number was in his lifetime, but was after he developed this process. There's still something there that's doing something.
So that's a really interesting point that I don't want to get lost, is that it's diluted so much that if you were to look at the molecular structure, there is not a trace of the substance there. So this is where we start to get into that weirdness.
Right.